Now, there's a lot of prejudice and skepticism for bodybuilding because of the abuse of the drugs. Of course, we know that doping spread out to the Olympic Games in every sport, almost. Sometimes they're really so obvious, the massive abuse that has been extensively happening to bodybuilding, and of course the death that come out of it. Bodybuilding is not an Olympic sport, and frankly, I don't believe it should be ever done. Actually, bodybuilding is a freak show because size matters, and it's not just about size, also it's about freaky conditioning. As a former champion and as a doctor, I know that medicine has to be along with bodybuilding and bodybuilding along with medicine in order to get the best out of this. Bodybuilding is an art. And in order to make the ideal body safely by using all those PEDs and ergogenics, you need to be monitored close up by a physician who also understands the pathology, pathophysiology of how steroids work, but also to know in first place the endocrinology, the biochemistry, and the chemistry of nutrition, kinesiology. So it's something rare to find in a whole package. So people can get not just how to use steroids, because this is something you can find probably anywhere, but how to use them safely and avoid the potential side effects that come out of it by the use of medical prevention, which is the most important thing in order to have longevity. Among the very rare bodybuilders who became doctors or doctors who not just did bodybuilding but succeeded in shows and became champions, because it's way different than using steroids, than working out, and then competing and winning shows. I paid the price of my mistakes because I was thinking more as an athlete back then and not as a scientist. Of course, I was not so mature educationally in order to understand the stupid mistakes of the abuse I was using, but I was driven by vein mainly in order to complete my goals and win. Knowledge is the most important parameter. That's why knowledge is power.
Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding, available on Amazon.com, where you can also find my awesome book, Real Bodybuilding. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome the good doctor, George Chouliados. How are you, sir?
Hello, Ron. Have a nice week. We had a new qualification yesterday with Mohammed Mustafa.
Yeah, Hassan has been so close to winning shows for the past, 3 years. He finally
got in shape. I mean, the grainy look they're looking for, this peak in conditioning.
Yeah, and he came down about 20-25 pounds less than what we normally see him at, and that was a great idea. That's what he should have done all along, I guess.
Well, I guess, Ron, this was mainly perhaps glycogen and water, and a little bit of, let's say, 1% body fat. Let's say now.
Yeah.
So mostly, you see, water brings the conditioning, and muscles are water, of course, and the steroids bring water, but in order to look crispy and not smooth, you need to get rid of the water.
Yeah, unfortunately, some people go too far with the water removal with very strong diuretics, but in this case, he just came down streamlined.
I think you shouldn't load up on glycogen that much, because when you're fuller, you're risky of being smoother,
right.
With insulin, and insulin retains water, of course.
Yeah, I remember Dorian Yates told me for almost every one of his Olympia wins, he was flat. He just came in. He didn't worry about being
on purpose.
Because exactly, because that was more important, and it won.
That's why they said about Rami also. You don't need to load on insulin. I mean, you have all the sides of the world. So it's all about bringing the deep conditioning that you're lacking of,
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see Rami come in shredded, dry, crispy. That's what I've been waiting for years. I hope he does that this year at the Olympics.
I think his first Olympia 290, he was he had that look, but he was kind of blocky to the inner thigh, yet he was the leanest we ever saw, you know?
Yeah.
And Chris Aceto, because he's the coach of Mustafa,
No, not
he's
anymore.
notorious
No.
about the, huh?
He got their last contest was the last Olympia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
So
think
not cooperating, huh?
it just came out. Everyone was wondering who's he working with, who's his new coach. And I'm pretty sure it's AJ Sims. They call him the Cement Factory. That's his new coach. So congratulations, AJ. If that was you, you did a hell of a job with Hassan. So,
He's among the biggest guys, you know, with now that Winkler retired, it's him and Rami, I guess.
yeah, we don't have that many really
And
big
also,
guys.
yeah, and Akeem also.
Akeem, yeah. There's, 15 years ago, there was so many guys who were like 270, 280 on the Olympia stage. Now, very, very few guys that big. Just like you said, just a couple. Yeah. All right. Well, doctor, we got a lot of good questions, so let's get into it. Hello, doctor. I'm considering taking the online Steroids Masterclass. So that's the one, I believe we have the commercial right before this. Can you talk about the content, the perspective? Do we have some documents with it? Can we ask questions during the class to make sure we understand the content? And last, do you talk about TRT and provide information about this? And I think this is Greek. SAS EFCHARISTO from a French.
Yes, thank you in Greek. So the masterclass actually is being in slides. I've been giving those lectures in English for a Greek academy that they asked me once to do it in English. So I have the Greek slides, and then I translate them to the English slides. Now, the masterclass is literally the Bible into video. People are very friendly to digest, listening, driving, or having the morning cardio, or just sitting on the couch or on the bed and just listening, rather than instead of reading. Actually, the new generation doesn't read thoroughly,
Yeah.
So it's much more convenient. And I have also written material, as in, like list of things that I mentioned. And now we're gonna have a new offer that is, you're not obligated to buy the whole course, but you can buy with $20, for instance, chapter number testosterone, chapter growth hormone, chapter stimulant. Break it down,
Okay.
and just read and buy whatever you want to. So you can listen to your cell phone as well, PC, of course, or TV set anyway. And this course is going to last for 1 year at least.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now we're going to have a new offer that you're able, those will pay the whole package. They're able to have a 30-minute consultation with me on camera.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. I should have noted, I didn't finish his question. He's actually an osteopath. So he's a fellow doctor. But that's next one is, I saw a post on your story. So must mean Instagram, a week ago regarding test and how it affects mood, aggression, and confidence. Would you be able to elaborate more on that and how people should base their cycles off of this? And then he says,
cycles is about abusing, What I was referring to was optimization in replacement therapy. That's when you have the benefits. If you abuse testosterone stacked with other steroids, then obviously you have superphysiological levels that may affect the brain chemistry. So yes, testosterone is neuroprotectant. It has very positive feedback on the neurons, how they transmit the signals. That reflects on the self-esteem through the DHT, the self-confidence, the cognitive function.
Yeah.
But if you go over a gram, and then there is something predisposition, the already status, the behavioral status, then you may have aggression, violent behavior, a volcanic combination along with other drugs.
Yeah. Tren is just notorious for making people aggressive.
Yes. If you don't control estrogen, so you may become very touchy, very sentimental, irritated,
That's like me. I cry at every sad song, every sad movie, because my estrogen is.
When you use clomiphene.
No, just because my estrogen, I don't take any aromatase inhibitors. My estrogen is super high. Remember the last time I did blood work? It was crazy high. So man, he had a second part of his question because he says, I'm planning on partying hard during the summer, which I think he means he's going to drink a lot. What is the best liver guard I can run?
Well, by far is without any doubt the injectable glutathione along with N-acetylcysteine, and then milk thistle, Li52, alpha lipoic acid. TUDCA, you don't need TUDCA unless you have jaundice. So if it's a step further, the liver disease, and you have the cholestasis, then TUDCA may reverse those bile salts.
Okay.
But generally, use all those supplements every time you eat. So you need constantly in your bloodstream those liver protectants, you know, to avoid the oxidation.
Or maybe don't drink so damn much. Anyway, that's terrible. Here's a good question. Is it necessary to switch to test propionate from test enanthate the last couple weeks before a show?
Absolutely, this is a must. And then switch with the propionate with Masteron propionate. It doesn't aromatize at all. Now, if you look super flat, I've experienced that in my last preparation. You know, the muscles look dead and flat when they're lacking of volume. And this is what testosterone brings. They look fresh, the muscles, you know, because they get volume up. But you have to control, of course, the sodium retention, the sodium retains water, and the aromatization. If you block estrogens and block sodium, you may look very good with testosterone, okay, even to the show, you know, just to get fuller, you know. Yeah,
most people will stop testosterone a good 2 or 3 weeks out from a contest and just.
Or they use suspension, you know.
Yeah.
So you may switch from propionate to suspension, and then to Masteron, you know. But the day of the show, you may shoot suspension again to look much more, you know, vital, you know, your muscles to be not like dead fish, you know, to be very fresh meat.
When was the last time you saw test suspension? I saw it once, like 20 years ago, a bottle. I've never really seen it.
In 2013 was really painful. And I have to tell you that I remember when I won my second contest, it was the light heavy in the IFBB. I was super dry, okay, and hard. And I injected 400 milligrams of suspension just before leaving home.
Oh, wow.
And in the afternoon, I had gyno. Even though I was taking 1 milligram of anastrozole, you know?
Wow.
I mean, gyno, come on. It was a little bit more.
In one day, though. Wow.
Within a few hours, man. Within
2 hours.
Yes.
Holy
because
moly.
spikes, there's no ester, spikes and leaves. You know, and I mean, all the milligrams are simulated, but there's no ester to hold, you know?
Yeah.
So it's most anabolic testosterone.
That must have been scary, doctor. I would have been frightened.
Yeah, I mean, and I was a little bit of lump, you know, but it was clear that there was the beginning of aromatization, you know?
Wow. Next question. Can oral Winstrol cause heart palpitations?
I think any steroid can cause heart palpitation because it affects the firing signals, transmitting signals of the muscles and also to the heart. But it disrupts also magnesium, which is a mineral that takes place in the muscle contraction. So people complain that whenever they use steroids, they have some heart palpitation and speeding heart rate, even though they're not taking any stimulants, you know?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I've experienced that from clenbuterol, but I don't think steroids.
This is a stimulant, you know, clenbuterol takes adrenaline. That's why this is very basic.
Yeah.
The point is you may have an arrhythmia out of steroids without any exogenous use of the stimulant.
Wow, that is scary. Okay, here's a little longer question. Hi, doc. Question from a 50-year-old. I eat very clean, have been training all my life, never drank, never smoked, 5 to 10 pounds overweight, but visible abs. I'm efficient on a low-carb diet, and it has helped reduce my insulin sensitivity and lowered my glycemia from 100 to 95. In his book, TRT Revolution, Jay Campbell says 600 milligram is the level under which one should start TRT. I'm at 550 and have some low T signs. Hard to lose fat now. My strength has gone down, fatigue. Should I start TRT? Check SMTHG before. Regards from France. And this must be the same guy. EFCHARISTO for what you do for us.
So actually, he refers to 600 nanograms. This is the testosterone level in the blood because people would imagine that TRT dose is 600.
That's what I thought he said.
So actually, it's the levels 600 nanograms, which is actually about over the mid-range, about 60% of the levels. The levels range from 300 to 1,000, okay?
Yeah.
Now listen, in all the labs, the thyroid panel, for instance, or the HPDA, how doctors clarify if you are hypothyroidic or hypogonadic? They estimate the average population. They take 100 samples and they say, those 10%, for instance, that are very low, they range from 300 to 400, for instance, and they make the average. So they didn't create a random number. Let's say that you are hypogonadal below 300. It's the average number of the population. Now, of course, this reflects to the lifestyle of each individual. And it's really sad to see urologists and endocrinologists that don't cooperate and they don't help, even though you have a little above 300. And you're gonna feel lousy, of course. And they will prescribe you, they will not prescribe you unless you don't have below 300, which is no sustain to, decent lifestyle, you know? And it's actually pathological, eh? You start developing diabetes, insulin resistance, obesity, depression, etc. Now, a total testosterone of 500 doesn't necessarily mean that you're okay, because the total testosterone does not work. It's like with caffeine, you know. So the free testosterone is the free one, the 2% that is liberated and circulates free in the bloodstream, and this is reversely related to HPG. So I've seen somebody who's following keto diet, and we know that keto diet kills the free testosterone because insulin goes down and HPG goes up, and he had no sex drive, even though his total testosterone was 700. So in such case, you need to boost your free testosterone. Now, you may justify the use of TRT when SHBG is close to 100. Nevertheless, you can still postpone the TRT by using proviron, boron, you know, or let's say DHA or DHT synthetic in order to improve the symptoms. But officially, no, you cannot start unless your total testosterone is 299, let's say.
Wow.
And it's most likely when it's so low to the free testosterone also to be low. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it all goes back to Thomas O'Connor always said, forget about the numbers. How do you feel?
Exactly. Yes. Okay.
Because on paper, you could look like, oh, your testosterone's fine, but you're feeling tired and you have no sex drive and you're losing.
Of course, this is also a matter of prolactin, estradiol, A1C, cortisol. It's multifactorial, iron levels, sleep.
Here's one that you've answered many times, I know. Does Dr. T think that adding 35 to 50 milligrams a week of Deca to my testosterone at 140 milligrams a week is dangerous for long-term use? I'm also taking 1 IU of growth hormone in the morning fasted and 1 IU post-training 4 times a week.
In the long run, you're going to have some slight deviation in HDL, in LDL perhaps, in total cholesterol, and in the 2 liver enzymes, and definitely in hemoglobin. Wow. Okay? Yeah. So you need really perfect with your diet. Take some prevention supplements in order to maintain this low dose of nandrolone.
Yeah, that was your dose, 50 milligrams a week for years, right?
No, it actually was 35.
35? Oh, that's not much at all. Jeez. This guy copied you. Another Deca question. Does nandrolone intensify the side effects of testosterone? I was on 120 milligrams of test a week for years with no side effects. Then I tried 80 milligrams test plus 40 milligrams nandrolone, and my lipids worsened. Hematocrit went up, estradiol went up. Free test did go up a bit, or did go up a lot. Is this common?
You see, this question answers the question before. You know, this guy gives us a perfect example. What are the long run consequences? You know, even of a low dose of Deca. So there is a slight deviation and distortion of the perfect labs, because testosterone is not toxic. You can run testosterone in your life without having any problem with a reasonable dose, of course. And then if you add a little bit of nandrolone in the long run, yes, you may have some slight deviations.
Finally, a training question, doctor. We like these because we don't get many. We get mostly drug questions. Should one train to failure on every set or on some sets?
I don't think so, because you're gonna deplete your nervous system. You're gonna have a breakdown. The intensity is so high. Jay Cutler used to say, leave 1 or 2 reps in the tank always.
Yep.
So to stimulate the muscles, but not the central nervous system always. Now tell me, can you do 1 max rep of squat in every training? No. Be able to recover, to sleep also. You need a lot of drugs and a perfect diet and sleep in order to recover. There's no point, actually.
Yeah.
I bet you can do it once in a month. It's like, but every set to failure, no way.
A lot of people will tell you that's how you need to train. Like Dorian say, you have to take your.
Yeah, but Dorian also evaluated the importance of rest. So don't go to the gym unless you're not 100% recovered.
Yeah, he only trained 4 days a week.
This soreness needs 1 week to leave.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're counterproductive.
Yeah, and I've seen studies that showed training below failure, where you're not going near failure at all, gives you the same.
Yeah, Brad Schoenfield also. We know he's a nerd on studies. He always go by the book.
Yeah. Now
he said you don't need to go 100% to the failure all the time. Sometimes, yes, those extra force reps, let's say, they will give you, or doing 100% your intensity. Yeah. But seriously, we're not machines, man.
Right.
You can still have high intensity by eccentric contraction, which is 20% more, the time under tension, and the small rest intervals,
Yeah. A lot of people, probably because they're not recovering enough, they'd be better off, like you said, leaving a rep or 2 in the tank, so they're not destroying their CNS every time they train.
And actually, I'm very selfish. I don't need anybody to give me a kick. I want 100% to be all mine.
Yeah.
That I know what I'm capable of. There are people that listen together the weights.
Yeah. The late Franco Colombo had a great quote. He said, forced reps are best done on your own.
Yeah.
He didn't believe in,
that's why you go to Smith, for instance, machine.
Yeah, I don't use a spotter. I haven't had a spotter in years. I don't want one. I don't need one.
Have you ever been locked down in a squat? I remember I was locked down and I pulled the weight back and the mirror just broke down.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The worst thing that happened to me was when I was only 17, I think, at home. I had a bench press stuck on my neck and nobody was home. It was just me. So I had to do that thing where I try to wiggle out of it, bruise my ribs and all that.
Me too, yeah.
I think everybody's done that at one time or another. And our final question, what is the normal creatinine level for the athlete bodybuilder? My creatinine level is 0.89 milligrams per deciliter. The normal range is 0.6 to 0.8. So I mean 0.6, 0.8. My blood urea is 32.2. My laboratorian and chemist told me the normal creatine for athletes is 1.30, is up to 1.30. Is it true? Is it not normal? What should I do, or what other tests should I have done?
Oh, it is true. It's up to 1.323.
Oh, wow.
And the bigger guy you are, the more body mass index you have. The more muscles you have, the more muscles means more creatinine they have. That will be eventually metabolized to creatinine. So a huge guy, 7 feet, 300 pounds, may have a higher range of 1.5, let's say, rather than a small guy of 5'5", 150.
Yeah.
All right. So this is absolutely perfect. 0.8 creatinine, he sounds like a vegan,
So my creatinine's always been high every time I get blood work. I've heard that if you want it to be a little lower, you should stop training for like a
Absolutely, because rhabdomyolysis also elevates, dehydration also elevates.
Yeah.
All right.
So like 4 days without training before blood work, your creatinine would probably be a lot less.
Yes, and consume a little bit less protein, a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So no drinks, just solid food.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this week. Steroidsmasterclass.com. That's the website.
Yes.
Steroidsmasterclass.com. Everybody check that out. Books are
great.
We're
going to offer you one package, Ron, because we need also your assessment, and it's very valuable.
I'm waiting. Yeah. Send me the link. I'll check it out. I'll definitely give you my review. 5 stars. Anyway, we'll see. Anyway, doctor, thank you so much. Guys, if you have questions for the doctor for next week's episode, please leave them below. Please comment even if you don't have a question. Share the videos, like the videos, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. It's a great service we have for free, gratis, every week here with one of the only doctors in the world who has practical real-world experience with training, nutrition, and PED use. So, Safkaristo, is that how we say it?
Yes.
Safkaristo, doctor. Yeah, I'm learning Greek one word at a time. Yazoo is hello, right? Okay, now I know 2 words. Great. I'm well on my way. Anyway, doctor, thank you so much for all that you do. And guys, check that out, steroidsmasterclass.com. We'll see you right here next week on Ask Dr. Testosterone. Thanks for watching.